In the quiet graves of forgotten victims, where fires crushed dreams and ropes stole lives, one uncle's unbreakable vow echoed through Harlem's streets. This promise, forged in fire and shadow, turned personal loss into community defense. It shielded many from the terror trying to invade the North. The vow exposed the hidden costs of justice born outside broken laws. Each act of retaliation carried the weight of stolen futures, rebuilt strength, and lasting scars. 17 years later, in 1963, a reporter confronted Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson, now 61. Johnson's eyes showed fatigue but stayed sharp. The reporter asked about the stories of 12 men's destruction in September 1946, all linked to his nephew's murder. Johnson's response cut deep. "My nephew Thomas dreamed of courtrooms. He fought injustice with laws. But when laws called his lynching a suicide and police buried the truth, I delivered the justice they denied. It wasn't just revenge, it was payback for a system harming black lives since America's founding. I only regretted it was needed after the war, in a time still poisoned by local hate. Terror met its end there. The KKK vanished from Harlem forever. This created security, not crime, when no one else protected us. This insight came from the chaos of that critical week. Over 3,000 people gathered at Abyssinian Baptist Church for Thomas's closed casket funeral. His mother, Ruth, wanted everyone to remember her son as joyful and full of potential. Bumpy placed a photo on the lowering casket. It showed Thomas in his Columbia sweater, holding a law book. Next to it, he added stark evidence. Photos captured Danny Morrison hanging in his garage. Rick Sullivan's face burned beyond recognition. Lou Bennett dragged broken from the woods. Frank Dorsy's home reduced to smoke. The warehouse fire that ended it all.
A note beneath them read, "They paid for every harm to you or help they gave. Harlem's justice is done. Rest, nephew. Your family is safe. Your streets are secure." Ruth touched Bumpy's arm. She asked if they felt her pain. Bumpy nodded. Each man understood loss, hurt, and total ruin. "Good," she whispered. She placed a flower. "My son wanted legal fights, but you gave him justice. Thank you." Before dirt covered the young law student born in 1927, dead at 19, this loss ignited Harlem's fierce protection. The storm's end led back to its peak on September 21st at 11:45 p.m. Bumpy and his loyal team, Illinois Gordon, Willie Lee Quick Jackson, and Marcus Cole, surrounded the East 98th Street warehouse. 15 KKK members met there, called by the last survivor, Charlie Ross. Bumpy's order was clear: disband or die in fire. Ross described the week's nightmares: Danny's noose, Rick's flames, Lou's breakdown, Frank's loss. 10 chose to fight. They mocked the threat from one crime boss. "We'll be ready," they laughed. 5 fled, including Charlie. They rushed to buses and hid in shadows. Bumpy watched from hiding. He gave the signal. 10 would die in flames. Fire bottles crashed inside. Glass shattered. Fuel exploded with roars. Chains locked the doors. Screams stayed trapped. 3 escaped from the back, burned and broken. Marcus let them go. It was mercy in their pain. 7 died in the blaze. Officials ruled it accidental from hidden alcohol. The case closed in 2 days. Detective Walsh filed it quietly. It mirrored the cover-up of Thomas's death. Before the warehouse fire, revenge built step by step over 7 days. Bumpy's team hit the 5 killers first. They documented each act for proof. On the 21st at 5:30 p.m., they cornered Charlie Ross. He was ready to talk. His pleas faced Illinois' firm command: offer the group a chance to disband or die. Charlie's cooperation earned him a one-way trip to California. He never returned. Frank Dorsy hid in a motel. At 2 a.m., flames consumed his house. Gasoline soaked the base. Windows fed the fire oxygen. Toys, jewels, and memories turned to ash. A note left behind said, 4 down, 1 left. You destroyed a family's future. Now feel the emptiness. Dorsy lost everything. He became homeless. Earlier, on the 19th, Lou Bennett fled to northern woods for safety. Quick and Marcus tracked him on unknown trails. They whispered his name. They repeated the accusation: you murdered Thomas Johnson. For 3 days, torment broke his mind. Footsteps echoed. Voices haunted him. Shadows chased him. Sleep, water, and safety escaped him. Rescuers found him crazed and dehydrated. Doctors committed him for a year. Fear gripped him forever. A pinned note read, 3 down, 2 left. You hunted a boy like an animal. Now feel the hunted's fear. On the 18th, Rick Sullivan stuck to his habits. He entered his garage. Locks had been changed without his knowledge. Gasoline poured inside. Exits blocked. His pounding did nothing. A match dropped through a vent. Fire erupted massive and fast. The door burst open. Neighbors put it out. But 60% of his face scarred forever. Pain defined his life. Bandages covered him. Work ended for him. A note in a crate said, 2 down, 3 to go. Burned items added terror. Fire brought agony. Thomas had felt the same. The chain started with Danny Morrison on the 17th. He repaired an engine in his garage. Willie and 2 others grabbed him. They tied him with the same type of rope. They hoisted him 3 times. Each time he strangled, then they released. It copied Thomas's 4-minute suffering. No release on the 4th lift. They left him hanging. A note affixed read, 1 down, 4 to go. You played your role. Now face it. Harlem honors Thomas's memory. Bumpy started his hunt right after the funeral. On the 15th at 9 a.m., he stood under the tree. He collected missed clues. 5 cigarette butts from different brands, footprints from work boots, a torn shirt button, a half-burned matchbook from Ali's bar on East 96th. Bumpy questioned Joey O'Brien, the bar owner who owed him. O'Brien named the 5 boastful men quickly: Danny Morrison, Rick Sullivan, Lou Bennett, Frank Dorsy, Charlie Ross. They met bi-weekly in the back room, wearing hoods. This confirmed a KKK cell. By evening, Bumpy had files on their lives, jobs, and families. He gathered his trusted 4, Illinois, Willie, Quick, Marcus. He assigned them to watch the targets. Bumpy vowed 7 days to make each feel Ruth's pain. Then he would destroy the cell. He would burn their terror out of Harlem. Photos would prove it all. This was family, not just business. The horror began with the lynching on September 15th at 6:05 a.m. Thomas, 19, a pre-law Columbia freshman, wore glasses and carried books. He walked to Abyssinian Baptist through Marcus Garvey Park. It was his weekly early routine. 5 men ambushed him. No hoods covered their faces. They committed raw murder. They overpowered the 5'7", 140-pound young man. He fought hard. Glasses flew. His Bible fell. Pleas went ignored. Danny tied the noose. Charlie paused for a moment. Then all pulled him up. His feet left the ground. Hands clawed at the rope. 4 minutes passed. Twitches slowed. Gasps ended. Stillness came. They pinned a note. Know your place. The killers returned to normal lives. They felt untouchable. They didn't know they had targeted Bumpy's nephew. This sparked huge consequences. The cell had 15 members total: mechanics, clerks, factory workers. They met Fridays in the warehouse. On the 13th, they chose the 5 by chance. Their mission: scare Harlem through Thomas. He was visible and ambitious. He represented their hate. This was a Northern KKK group. It grew secretly in cities like New York, Chicago, Boston. They wore normal clothes after the war, but they warned, victory brings danger. Bumpy got the news at 7:12 a.m. Illinois called, voice shaken. Thomas, Ruth's son, hung in the park. Officials called it suicide. The note proved otherwise. Bumpy stayed calm outside. Fury burned inside. He remembered teaching Thomas chess. He recalled his graduation, the drive to Columbia, Ruth's pride. Bumpy went to her apartment on 135th Street. Neighbors held her as she broke. It was murder by 5 KKK men. "I'll handle it," Bumpy told her. "They'll feel my emptiness, I promise." He checked the site with Curtis, a street informant others missed. Curtis saw 5 white men before dawn. He identified Danny later at Ali's. $200 bought his silence. Detectives Walsh and Sullivan arrived at 6:47 a.m. They saw the twisted neck. Rope marks stood out. The note showed from the path. It was a public display. The paymaster named Thomas as Bumpy's nephew. He knew trouble brewed. They ruled it suicide. Notify the family. Look the other way. Groups would protect the 5. When justice failed, revenge took over. The coroner took the body. Forms got filed. Everyone waited for what came next. At 6:23 a.m., an old man walked his dog. He spotted the horror. He thought it was laundry at first. Shouts brought help. A young black man in Columbia clothes, khaki pants, one shoe gone, hands raw from the fight. A lynching in the North, 1946, 1 year after hate's defeat in war. But terror hid and warned against progress. Thomas was smart and steady. First in his family to reach college, he planned to fight injustice in court. His professor praised his skills. He lived with Ruth, Bumpy's sister. Their small home now felt empty forever. In the end, this story's impact lives on. The KKK left Harlem. No signs for 17 years. It proves when laws fail, people protect themselves. This doesn't praise violence. It shows the need for self-defense against open hate. Thomas, the future lawyer, got stopped. His uncle, the kingpin, balanced the scales when laws failed. If this story of loss turned to protection, hidden costs, and lasting watch moves you, subscribe to Bumpy Johnson, King of Harlem. Comment, is it justice or vengeance? When a lynching gets called suicide, what options remain? Where lines blur, it teases more stories, like how Bumpy built his empire against fear. Remember Thomas, 1927 to 1946? He sparked the change that drove terror away. Rest in power.